Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Inside Voices First Takes. Thanks for joining us. As always, I am your host, Adam Rubin.
And I am the co-host, Colin Binnig.
He is indeed. And as always, we have just come back from seeing a new film. This week's film, of course, is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Hey, where are you going? What are you hiding, Peter?
Yeah, Spider-Man!
I'm just kidding, I don't care. Bye.
Had to. Sorry.
Yes, I understand. I understand. It's not quite the Wonder Woman theme song, but it was pretty catchy. It was pretty catchy.
Adam, nothing is like the Wonder Woman theme song. Okay.
I know. I get that. So we've just seen Spider-Man, the 7th or 19th Spider-Man movie they've made thus far. And what did you think? What did you think, Colin?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you're keeping track very accurately of how many movies there have been. Good for you.
I think so. It's my job to know these things.
I mean, for me, first take, and hopefully a pretty easy thing we can agree on. The best Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2. Can we just easily agree on this?
Since Spider-Man 2, for sure we agree on that.
Right, because there was 3, and then the 2 other amazing Spider-Mans, and then now this one. So, for sure, right?
Absolutely. From 3, either of the Amazing Spider-Mans, definitely better than those 3 other films.
Good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from someone. This comes from someone who actually appreciates some of what Amazing Spider-Man brought. It's just it was not enough to make either of those like a good movie. This was, you could tell, like, trying to pull back a whole fresh page. The use of the opening original Spider-Man theme for the Marvel credits. Mm-hmm. Beautifully done. Love that. I was like, alrighty, here we go. All right, we're back to basics. Here we go. Just off the bat, I was surprised how much more of an MCU movie this was. I knew Iron Man was in it, but really I thought that was going to be the only connection. It was going to be like Spidey still doing mostly his own thing with Vulture, his own villain, and then the occasional Avengers reference. But there was a lot more references. You had to have watched like both Avengers movies and Civil War in order to like kind of make sure you followed everything what was happening.
Well, I don't know if you needed to see them to follow what was happening. If you wanted to get every single reference, that's true. But I mean, it's not a complicated movie if you hadn't seen those other movies.
I know the fact that the fact that Cap also shows up, very hilariously.
Great use of Captain America. Probably the best use of Captain America thus far.
Can we just say also, Captain America provided probably the greatest end credits scene that Marvel has ever done.
No,
because they finally went meta. They went meta, Adam, and I couldn't have been happier.
Yes, they went meta. Meta does not equal good in every situation, Colin. This is our whole difference of opinion, you and I. No, I do not agree that was the best one.
I say it is. It's because it was done right, and my God, it was glorious. It was glorious, Adam. Best end credit scene in a Marvel movie yet. I said it.
There's such a low bar that you're managing somehow to limbo underneath of. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Moving on from that.
So just quick,
the main film was good.
Yeah, the main film, really well done. Really great use of humor, great amount of humor, and really good. Not like cheesy type of humor. I actually thought the humor was well done, organic, wasn't forced. The Tom Holland, the main character, does a really good job playing both Peter and Spider-Man. Very good. Probably the first actor other than Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. He was the first one to really get the right balance of, Peter Parker and Spidey. I would say Tobey Maguire. What?
You just said he's the only actor after Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Like, those are all the actors.
Right.
So what did you mean?
I know I misspoke. Thank you. I meant the best one that includes the list out of Tobey and Andrew Garfield.
He's the best of the 3. Got it.
But he's the best of the 3 in terms of balancing being both Peter and Spidey. That's what I was going to say. Tobey.
What do you mean?
I thought Tobey Maguire was a much better Peter Parker than he was a Spider-Man. Because his Spidey doesn't really do much in terms of the sarcastic, witty insults. He's got a couple, but really,
As Spider-Man. Okay, yeah, when he's wearing the
Spidey
costume.
is kind of a little more tamer in that regard. Andrew Garfield was all about that. He was all doing the sarcastic. He was great Spider-Man. Unfortunately, his Peter Parker was like this emo skateboarder. No to that at all. Okay, this was just the right amount of smart, high school person, and then as Spidey, kind of having some quips when he's dealing with the fake Avengers and the bank robbery. There we go. That's all I wanted. So kudos to Tom Holland for making the perfect balance for the first time.
I mean, and Tom Holland did do a good job, but is it right to place the failings of the previous Spider-Man movies at the foot of the actors? That Tobey Maguire is to blame? You don't think this is a writing issue?
I'm not trying to say like the actors to blame, but I mean, I don't know. It just Spidey could have been in his instance. I don't know, a little bit more with quips. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm with you on that. I just don't think it's right to say that somehow.
I'm not saying that made those movies not good. I mean, those movies are still. I still think the original Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 are still better than Homecoming.
See, now this is where we start to get into the heat of the meat. So let's back off this for 1 second so we can finish our non-spoilers version of this.
Right.
Are you a see it or a no see it?
I will say it's a for sure see it. If you want to see Spider-Man return, to his roots, fit him in the MCU. Not the best comic book movie so far this year. I know some people are saying that. I still prefer Wonder Woman.
Who is saying that? Wait, people are saying this is the best comic book movie?
I've seen a lot of reviews. Adam. They say this movie is the best, even including Wonder Woman and Logan. I would have to put Wonder Woman still ahead of this. That's just me, though.
They haven't seen Wonder Woman and Logan? What's their problem?
Of course they have. They're movie critics. Why would they not see it?
I mean, there's no way this movie's better than Logan. But all right. So sorry, you're a firm see it.
For sure, see it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What do you give it?
I would give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that is a very, very solid see it.
All right. You, sir?
So I'm not quite as into corporate synergy as you. So the fact that this has worked its way into the Marvel Universe franchise is not really as exciting for me. I don't disagree with what you said about his performance as Spider-Man or the portrayal of the Spider-Man character in this movie. I'm going to say, like, if you like comic book movies, this is a very solid comic book movie, and I would say see it. I have to say, though, for the general public who just wants to see a movie, just to see a good movie, I don't know if I can get that far behind this one. It is light, and if you want to just go have some fun, like, okay. But I would certainly say that if you haven't seen Baby Driver, I would see Baby Driver before I saw this movie. If you want to have fun, I would definitely see Wonder Woman before you see this movie.
Okay, but like that doesn't mean don't see Spider-Man. Yeah, you see both. Okay, you can see them all if you want.
I give this Spider-Man 6 out of 10. So
Wow.
it's
wow.
Like you could see it, but I'm not that enthusiastic about you seeing it. That's my take. And if you'd like to know why, stick around. But if you want no spoilers, we will be with you next time. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. Everyone's gone now. That's right. We have no viewers now.
Yes.
It's just you and me, Colin. So now, yeah, that's my take on it. 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Now,
I would agree with you. It is like, it's like a fun escapist. It's your very typical summer blockbuster movie, but it's just done really well, I think. The CGI was really good. The humor was great. I really also enjoyed Michael Keaton and how how Vulture. I have to say, of all the MCU villains, I think he was the most. He was the villain that they humanized. I would like to say the most.
And I thought that was a good move.
I totally bought why he was doing what he was doing. He's a family man. And he got screwed over by Tony Stark and the government. Okay, and that is a very, very relevant feeling in today's day and age. So, so yeah, what he chooses to do in order to support his family, not the best, but the motivation is crystal clear, a good motivation. So it was very, very refreshing to see that in a comic movie. Like, I kind of don't like the villain is just really not like the worst person in the world. He's just trying to make a living, trying to support his family.
Well, I mean, yes, and fair enough. That's actually not even my favorite part of it. My favorite part of how they humanized him is, of course, how he and Peter Parker ultimately have their confrontation. So, I mean, talk about how it was sort of previous Spider-Mans didn't really feel like teenagers. They really went all the way the other way with this. Like, that's a great conceit.
They went full high school. They truly went full high school.
Totally did. You go to a girl's house, and her father is like, yes to that. And yes to all of
that. That reveal was so well done. The entire audience, when I saw it, was just like, yeah. It was like the crazy stupid love moment when you realized everything was connected, and it was just like, oh man, this is great. Oh, tension.
Same in my theater. People really got into it, as did I. I thought that was good. I just loved in the car, the whole ride. I did think he put it together a little too fast, but I'm totally willing to forgive it because it's just such a great idea.
Yeah.
Such a great idea. She gets out of the car. He's going to have the talk. And he pulls out the gun, and it's like, you're Spider-Man. That's great. That is great. So big points there.
Okay.
But what, for me, kept the movie from really rising to a level above just standard blockbuster movie, I think had a lot to do with the humor. I felt like every time there was a moment where something real was going to happen, they undercut it with a joke, which I know is not unique to this Marvel movie, but I do think that that's a big part of what was so nice. Like the DC movies in the Snyderverse are a little too serious. They have these ridiculous premises and they just take it completely seriously, and that keeps me from getting super into it. On the flip side, though, if you don't take anything, like Spider-Man didn't take very much that was happening in the movie seriously, and that kept me from getting into it a little bit. Like, I think that's part of why I loved Wonder Woman so much, or Logan for that matter. Like, the moments that have weight have real weight, and it's very sincere, and they play those moments seriously in those movies. In this movie, it was just everything. The stakes were all kept very, very light, which was fine for what it was, but it never really resonated as anything deeper for me.
Interesting. I actually remember a couple moments in terms of like supposed to be like, emotional moments for the audience to be invested in. One being after Peter screws up on the boat and Iron Man has to save the boat and gives him like just a talking to. I didn't think that moment was undercut by humor at all. I think that's a moment that landed. I think it's a moment that needed to happen because, like you said, Peter has been kind of loosey-goosey with, learning this new suit, just, not really taking that much too seriously. And Iron Man has to berate him and be like, stop, you are better than this. I thought you were better than me. And I need to take back the suit. That was a moment that landed. Like, you could tell from his performance, like that is crushing to Peter Parker. Like, he kind of is tearing up. When he goes back to Aunt May, he is like almost full on ready to confess almost at that moment. I really thought that moment landed.
And I'll give you that. That moment does land.
Okay.
That moment does land. But
when I thought of
everything that came before it was so flippant.
Yeah.
It felt more like they were taking away his favorite toy than they were stripping him of his identity. Like that moment landed, but there were not enough of those moments for me to really get behind.
I would have liked more as well. I'll agree with you. I wish there were more of them, but I don't think like they were non-existent. I think they were there.
As opposed to my favorite Spider-Man movie, which is definitely still Spider-Man 2.
Well, you and most of the world have that opinion.
So. Absolutely. That Spider-Man, you had real stakes. The stakes are always cartoony, but in that movie, they took the stakes more seriously. Doc Ock's character was a bit of a more serious character, and you had an earnest struggle in that. That in this one was a little, a little sparks and magic the whole time, a little CGI and quips.
Well, let me get into what I thought could have been better, personally, with Homecoming. First and foremost, I'll agree with you. It could have been a little bit more like emotional, like powerful moments. Okay, that's fine. But I think there were still some.
There are some. I'm not saying there are none.
Okay.
I'll agree with you.
And then I do, because like Michael Keaton was so good as Vulture, I just wish there was actually more Vulture Spider-Man interaction. Like there really isn't that much. I mean, they fight occasionally in the beginning, in the middle, and then we get the fight at the end. But unfortunately for me, I thought the final fight on the plane was not shot well. I thought it was a little bit too cutty. I couldn't really follow all the CGI fighting on the plane in the dark too much.
Colin thought a fight scene was too cutty. Oh my goodness!
It was kind of hard. It was too hard to follow with all the CGI and the plane. Once they got on the beach, it was a little bit better. But in the air, it was kind of hard to follow. So
definitely agree with you. Just surprised to hear you saying that of all people. Very good, Con.
You're the first time for everything.
You're learning.
First time
Yes,
for everything.
I love it.
And I wish also Peter and his relationship with either female lead, Liz, or I guess her name is Michelle, but then she goes by MJ at the end. And by the way, if that's supposed to be a hint as that's Mary Jane Watson, then that might be a problem, because her name is Mary Jane Watson. Her name is not Michelle, and she goes by MJ. So hopefully that's just an Easter egg as to a different MJ is coming, and this is just
I definitely do think that's what it was. I don't think that's supposed to be Mary Jane.
Well, let's just because that would be really changing origins and stuff, and I don't know if fans would appreciate that.
I don't think that's what they were pushing.
But even if they are supposed to hinting at this is the MJ that's going to be the MJ, barely in the movie, like really not given enough material to not enough interaction with Peter, not enough to like get me to know about why she is the way she is. I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity for me. I just thought, if this is supposed to be the thing that's going to happen later on, this was not the best first step in establishing it for me personally. Were you okay with MJ in the movie?
I mean, I thought she was the throwaway set of jokes. So yes,
but it's not supposed to be throwaway if she's MJ. I mean,
I'm saying I don't think she is the MJ. So
okay,
I was fine with that.
If that's the case, then I'm more okay with it, I guess.
I definitely we'll see who gets born out in the end. I didn't take it as she's supposed to be a plant for later. I thought she was just supposed to be a comic relief in a movie that was all comic relief from top to bottom.
Fair enough. Okay, if that's the case, then I'm more okay with MJ then.
Well, good. I'm glad you're okay with it. Other thoughts about the film?
Other than I wish unlike the Tobey Maguire movies, when those movies had like a great theme, apart from that Marvel Spider-Man version theme, I don't know. There was no actually like recognizable Spider-Man moment theme, sadly for me, and that's a big deal.
Right, I totally agree with you. So for me, that's why it doesn't rise above a 6. But you still give it an 8?
I still give it an 8 just because humor and Tom Holland and the MCU connections, good enough.
Okay, well, good enough. I think we both can agree this movie was good enough. There you have it. That's our first take. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. We will be off next week, First Takes, but please do join us the week after that. So 2 weeks from today for the next episode of Inside Voices First Takes. And before you go, if you liked this episode, if we gave you something you felt was useful, do give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let us know what you'd like us to review. And as always, please do subscribe.
And one last note before we sign off. Today, sadly marked the death of Stan Lee's wife of 69 years. And it's just, terrible timing with it also being the release of the new Spider-Man movie, which is Stan Lee's just, bread and butter. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Lee family. Hopefully they'll be able to come out of this tragic time. And just know that Mr. Lee, your new movie did the character justice, and we will always be there for you as comic book fans.